Welcome to this week's office hours call. This is a copywriting training that we do approximately every other week, and we talk about all things copy. We basically nerd out on you, and we are excited to do just that today. My name is Debbie Drum, and I am here with Kayla McDonald. And today we're going to be talking about tracking and analyzing your copy for maximum profits. I hope you're ready to get started because we are, and this is going to be a great call. And you're very lucky to be on this today because it's only going to better everything that you're doing with your copywriting and your selling online. All right, and my name again is Debbie Drum. I'm there on the right, and I'm the head content creator for Fearless Social. And we've got our head copywriter, Kayla McDonald, with us on the line. Hey, Kayla, how you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Awesome, awesome. Feeling good. Chopped off my hair. Well, not all my hair, but it's that time of
Oh no.
year.
Yeah, it is. Spring is around the corner, so you gotta.
Exactly. So there's mostly guys here on the line with us today. I see a couple of women, but the guys don't really know because their hair is short all the time, or most of them are short
You
all
know,
the time. So
you never know. The man bun is coming back, so.
that's true. That's true. Awesome. Okay, let's get rolling. So here's what we're going to cover today on our call. We're going to cover why tracking is important and why you should care. We're going to cover easy ways to track your links and, of course, what not to do when it comes to link tracking, the what, why, and how of split testing your offers, and how to use those scary conversion pixels to track your progress. So let's just, start out by the obvious, really. And it might not be that obvious to everybody because not everybody does tracking. I know I didn't do tracking at first when I started out. I just wanted to get out what I had and, roll the dice to see what happened. But once you become a little bit more experienced with your online sales and your copywriting, you're going to really want to try different things and see which things work better for you. So there's really no one way that's always the best way. So it's never going to be like, oh, you always need a yellow continue button. This always works in this one situation. That's never the case. Because if there was one way of doing something, obviously we wouldn't have to test everything or anything, and everyone would just be doing the same thing. So there's really no rules, quote unquote, to online sales. So unfortunately, what works for one thing might not work the same for another. Even if you're, testing the same exact product and, one color or one, way of doing something might work over here while it might be totally different for another group of people or another audience over there. So that's pretty much the main reason why you test, because you have to see what is working best in what scenario. Another reason why tracking is important is because you want to make the most out of your hard work, right? So you work so hard on putting together a product or putting together a funnel, and you want to get the most out of it. So why not test things to make it even better? Because look, even if one, let's say, squeeze page or sales page is converting 2% or 3% or 5% higher because you made one tweak, that can be, that can affect your bottom line greatly, and the amount of money that you make and the amount of money your affiliates make, your JV partners. So it's so worth it to just get those little nudges and those percentages more out of, all the work that you've put into it. And also, of course, you want to get the most out of your traffic, even if you're not paying for traffic, even if you're sending to your email list. That's still, you don't want to waste your traffic. You want to get the most out of it. So you want to give them the best, highest converting stuff. And of course, if you are paying for traffic, that's money out of your pocket. So that's another reason to test and track. And lastly, I have here is because your competitor is probably not doing it. So you have an advantage if you are doing it. If you are testing and tracking, there's little things that you have to do to put in place. It's not just like, maybe perhaps clicking a few buttons. Sometimes it's like changing a graphic. Sometimes it's writing out 5 headlines or 5 subject lines. And if you're going to put in some of that extra work and doing more than, let's say, your competitors are doing, then you're going to come out on top. And that's where we want to see you. That's what we always aim to be, on top. And that's what we're pretty much teaching today. So tracking is really, really important. So let's start out with tracking links. Now, tracking links just means really the bare bones of tracking your clicks, okay? And it is not really advised to, well, I don't want to generalize this too much, but I'm going to give an opinion, and if somebody else has an opinion, that's great. You can share it in the chat box with us. For me, though, and I actually have this on this slide too. After the webinar, we'll give out this PowerPoint, and you can go check this article out. And it's an article that actually I wrote on creating like link shorteners, or something that will mask, like, let's say, your affiliate link so that you can better track your links. And we talk all about link shorteners like Bitly, like the Google link shortener. And I don't know if it's a controversy or not, but in my opinion, I believe that you should own your own link shortener, whereas you're using something like like a script on your own server, or like a plugin like PrettyLink, where you're actually, let's say, I'm shortening a link and I can turn that link into my domain, like debbiedrum.com/ tracking links, whatever it is I'm promoting. Because when you rely on third-party link shorteners like Bitly and those other ones, they're really good, and they'll give you good tracking information, but it's a little bit risky when you don't own something and you use something that you don't own that's a third party. So like Bitly's here, but maybe the owner of Bitly will decide they don't want to take care of their site anymore a year from now, and then all your links are gone. So while it's simple to use in the beginning, I don't really recommend it. If you're doing projects that you don't really care and you want to just test and you're doing it quickly, you can use those sites. I use them sometimes too. But if it's really important stuff, like evergreen stuff that you want to be promoting long term, then it's really something that you should probably look into, owning that link, owning that territory, right? Owning that web property, because you just really never know. So I'm just going to go back a slide. What you should aim to really do with your links, and this is ultimately why you test links. This is another reason, not just because you don't want your links to look like an ugly affiliate link. That's a big thing, but really tracking your links for different places that you market stuff, right? So this is going an extra step. So you're not just using one link to link everywhere. So why do we do this, right? So if you have one thing that you're promoting, like on YouTube, on Facebook, on Google+, let's say your email marketing, let's say slide shares, Facebook ads, there's posts, there's ads. You want to see, right, where you're getting the most clicks, because let's say you promote something like on YouTube and Google+, and on Google+, you get 100 clicks, and on YouTube you get 2 clicks. Well, that gives you a lot of information about where you should be spending your effort on that particular topic that you're marketing, because you could just see that from the clicks. And that is very powerful information for you to use, because then you know where you need to spend your time, effort, and energy, just from knowing how many clicks you got from a specific place. So that's what you're going to do when it just comes to clear link evaluation and checking, just seeing how many clicks you're getting from different places. Like for me, I'll always get more clicks with email marketing, because email marketing, I have a list and I know that people are clicking a lot from my emails, but it's also powerful if I market somewhere else to see what the differentiation is. And that will help me, and it will help you determine your marketing plan. So when you get a chance, go ahead and read this great article that was written by yours truly, and you'll get a lot out of it in terms of link shorteners and tracking, if you don't already have your own things that you're using to track your links. All right, so now we're going to get into split testing your copy. So before I move on, would love a little bit of participation here, and tell me if you are split testing anything that you're doing online. Or tell me your opinion about split testing. Tell me if you hate it. Tell me if you think it's a pain in the butt. Tell me if you love it. Tell me anything. Okay, Rob says yes, AB. Yep, Sonia says no, and I really know I need to, absolutely. And don't get freaked out. I mean, this all really comes in time. Like I said, I didn't start split testing for a while because I just wanted to get what it is that I needed to get out and not worry about another version, right? But once you really get into it, it's a little bit of fun, and you'll just get used to it. Yep, seems advisable for sure. Yeah, I mean, split testing does not have to be, Rob says it's available on lead pages and Unbound. Simply, yeah, that's the key word, is simply. There are a lot of programs that are making it easy for us. All right, so Tom, we're going to clear that up for you, Tom. No problem. Cool. Thank you for your feedback. Awesome. So why we split test? Again, the same thing that we talked about with tracking. Again, there are really no hard rules. And, if there were, then everybody would be making tons and tons of money online. And the people who are split testing, the marketers who are split testing, are always going to be on top. They're always going to be the ones that are more successful, making more money, because they're evaluating their data and they're doing what is working better. Okay? And another reason to split test is because there's always something to test. You'll put out something and you'll never be perfect. Even the smartest marketers that we know and love, and the most successful marketers, still need to split test. They're never just going to be like, oh, okay, I put this up and I never have to tweak it ever again. That's not the case, and it never will be the case, which is good for you and me, right? Because, it puts us all kind of on the same playing field. Again, you want to get the most out of your advertising and your traffic, and whether it's free or paid. And of course, your competition is probably not doing it. So better results for you. All right, so let's get into it, and let's talk about easy copy split testing. 5 things to start. split testing today. So basically what I wanted to do is just break it down to 5. There are probably more that we can test and do. And I wanted to make this very actionable so that you can take this and start doing it and putting it into action right away. Okay, so here's one thing that you can start to split test. And it's when you are making a squeeze page. Hopefully everyone on this call knows what a squeeze page is and knows that we need them to collect an email list, right? And one thing that we can do with a squeeze page is that we could do a video versus a non-video squeeze page, right? So basically we can take our traffic, we could send a portion of our traffic to a video squeeze page, and we could send a portion of our traffic to just like a regular opt-in with no video on it and see how well they perform. Okay. I have down here a big fat warning and to be careful analyzing your results. This is really critical, and it's something that if you're just kind of getting into this, you may not understand it or even understand why this is important, but I'm going to explain it now, okay? So basically, let's say that you're running traffic to a squeeze page that has no video, and that squeeze page gets, let's say, a 40% opt-in. And then let's say the other percentage of your traffic you're running to a video and you're only getting, let's say, 29%, right? So which one's better? Can anyone guess which one is better, the first scenario or the second scenario that I said? And this is just an example. This is like just a picture. So, okay. Claude says the 40% is better. You would think, right? Not all the time. A lot of people are saying 40%, 40%. Rob is saying it depends. Yeah, you're right, Rob. It does depend, because while you're getting the 40% on the non-video, what is the action that those people are taking after they opt in? Like, so let's say you have an offer that as soon as they opt in, you have a one-time offer, right? And you're going to have to look at the results. So the tracking goes even further than that. You're going to have to look at the results of the people who actually take action after they opt in, because maybe out of that 40%, 5% are taking action and buying your one-time offer, whereas on the 29% one, that number could be 15 or 20%, right? So while the opt-ins are better for the non-video, the video one is making you more money. So that is something that you really have to track and really have to look at. So, your conversions are better without the video, but your sales are better with the video. So that is how this can get a little bit confusing, and this is where you really need to be smart about what you're doing and your know-how and things like that, but you'll get there. It's just, this is a really, really important note to take when you are testing, and because you're not only testing your results, you're testing the traffic that you're bringing inside as well, because maybe that video was so powerful that those people felt more of a connection with you and they felt more likely to buy, as opposed to just getting brought in, getting promised a report without a video. Okay, so that is an important point to drive home. Another thing that you can start split testing are the colors of your buttons. You can have different colors. Obviously, there's an array of colors that you can find online, different buttons. You can even test what you say on your buttons, like continue or buy now or add to cart, get instant access, download now. There are so many things that you can test, and it's a little bit crazy and you can get a little bit overboard at times, but this is another popular thing that people do test from time to time. Another thing that you could test and should test, this is actually number 3, is actually something that I would highly recommend you testing like immediately, because different headlines, different subject lines, blog titles, and calls to action are a great way to kind of see people's reaction to what you're saying. And there are, again, no hard rules, except really don't be boring. That's like the really biggest thing you don't want to do in any of your headline, your subject headline, is to not bore people to tears, okay? So that's really a rule. But other than that, I mean, I'm sure that if you open your email inbox and you'll see different marketers and with their different headlines and their subject lines for their emails, and there are some marketers that can just write the subject line that says, hey, and they'll get an open rate of like, something crazy, like really good open rate. Whereas like, it really depends on who you are to be able to pull something like that off. If you're not a big name marketer, you might have to really use a very powerful headline, tie in the benefits. I know that Kayla always helps me out in doing this topic. Kayla, do you have any kind of recommendations for headline, this topic? I know that we can spend like a whole day or a whole office hour talking about headlines and calls to actions, things like that. But what kind of things would you say about this and testing this kind of stuff?
Um, well, I think one of the big things to point out here is I know you and I, we kind of run into this problem a lot on these office hours because sometimes we'll get specific questions of, how do I do this? How do I do that? And that's always the problem, is there aren't hard rules. Everything kind of is a gray area, and it does come down to kind of knowing your market. And along the lines of what we're talking about today, knowing your market becomes a lot easier when you split test and you see what they're reacting to. So, I mean, yeah, you're right. There is no hard rules for headlines and subject lines, but a really good place of inspiration for them is just, and I think we actually talked about this on a past office hours actually, is drawing inspiration from the marketing that's around you and starting to pay a lot more attention to what is going on in your inbox. So, for example, I subscribe to different lists, some in the online marketing world, the like make money online world, because we write a lot in that. And also just, personal stores that I like and stuff like that. And I always, when I look at my inbox, I pay attention to the subject lines, and I always kind of mentally note how they make me feel and why does one want to make me open one more than the other. And by doing this, it sounds really silly, but doing this and starting to collect what a lot of copywriters refer to as a swipe file, that's a really good reference point for you to draw inspiration for headlines and subject lines and blog titles and whatever. So definitely something that you should be doing is, like I said, building a swipe file, paying attention not just to inbox, but even walking down the street, if you see a billboard, like I said, make a mental note. Why did that? Well, we all have smartphones. Take a quick picture of it, throw it in your swipe file, and then write a couple notes like, why did this make you react? And and when you are going to write for your own market, that becomes a really good base for drawing inspiration and testing things out. So that's one of the things that I definitely like to do, and I think that everyone should be doing when they're writing. So
Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to get to a level of perfection, but you with your own marketing, like let's say your own list, you really should be evaluating what kind of open rates you're getting, and you're studying and writing down, even like studying other people, but also studying what you're doing yourself that's effective. So, this one day, if you got a 20% open rate, like why did you get that open rate? What did you say in that subject line? One way that our modern technology lets us do this specifically with autoresponders is you can do the split test right inside your list. Sometimes it's hard if you're using multiple lists. So you can also just do it manually and, split half your traffic, use one subject line, and then another half of your email list, use another subject line. And that's just a great way to kind of just start the process. And that's all it is. You're really using the same exact email. You're just splitting your list in half and using different subject lines to track your open rate. And that's what it's all about with emails, at least, right? Because if you're sending traffic from your email, you want people to open it. That's your number one thing. And this should be like your first action after this call or whenever your next email is to start testing your subject line of your email. Trying to think if I should bring up, no, I won't bring that up here. All right, let me move along. All right, number 4 is the placement / order of things. So let's say you have a sales letter. One thing that you can test is putting your bullets at the top or at the bottom and seeing, what the outcome is and how effective either of them or both of them are. If it's a squeeze page or if it's a blog, you can test to have the opt-in, let's say like the opt-in box on the left side or the right side. And I know that there are several programs out there that will help you do this. And they're not very cheap though. Like there are programs like Optimizely that will help you do things like this with your blog and move stuff around. I have not personally used that. I just not have gotten that far because most of the things that I've tested are on squeeze pages and sales pages, things like that, stuff that I'm directly sending traffic to. But if you want to look into sites like that, I think there's another one called, the name escapes me, but I think it's like Crazy Egg. They have one too, which is really great. A lot of people.
Crazy Egg is.
Yeah, and
I was just going to say Crazy Egg is one that we've used, and they're really good.
Yeah. And they have a really great blog, too, Crazy Egg does, and they have a good podcast as well. They talk all about copywriting, things like that. I love that site. But that's the one thing that they're always promoting, of course, is their split testing software thing, which I heard was great, but never used myself. And you can also test out the buy button placement as well, like where you place that buy button. Does it work on the top? Does it work on the bottom? Things like that. So this is just rearranging stuff around and see. You can also use things like heat maps, which I have not used either, where you can actually see where people are moving their mouse, things like that. So you could, really go ahead and go for that kind of testing. And you'll get a lot of information if you do take the plunge and do that kind of stuff. I would say, though, if you're just, starting out or you're a seasoned marketer or whatever, I think that's a little overkill. If you have a team of people, I might recommend doing something like that, just so you're spending your time doing marketing stuff and making products and selling, as opposed to futzing around with programs like that. So that's my opinion on the matter, but obviously you're free to kind of do whatever you want. And number 5 is you can actually test the offer itself. So let's say you're running something to a squeeze page, you can test what kind of free gift is working out better. So is it the report that talks about, squeeze pages, or is it a report that talks about sales pages? Whatever it is, you can test what you're actually giving away and what's more effective. You can test things on your sales letter, like adding bonuses versus no bonuses. I mean, you would think, right, that adding bonuses would increase conversions. One would think that, Well, what happens when you assume? You make an ass out of you and me. That's the whole point here. You can't really assume anything. I mean, you can go by historic data. You can go by your own historic data or by somebody else's historic data, but that doesn't necessarily say that it's definitely going to happen one way or another. You can also test. I think Kayla, you'd mentioned this to me in the past that you guys would test refunds versus no refunds. That's something that you can test because people may buy or not buy just solely based on this stuff alone.
We were, I think what you're referring to is our money back guarantees, because we actually, for a while, we thought we would try, putting out offers and not listing money back guarantee and seeing how that affected refunds and whatever. And we actually found that we did much better with the money back guarantee. And it didn't necessarily affect our refund rate any, because people that want refunds are gonna ask you for refunds anyways, right? So yeah, I think that's what you're referring to is
Yep.
we ran into that. I think that was a little while ago, but yeah, definitely test out your guarantees as well and how they're worded and all that. That's definitely a good aspect to pay attention to.
Yeah, that's a good one that I don't have on here, like the wording of guarantees. That's definitely huge. Um, for this purpose, absolutely. Even like your what's it called, the refund policy, or and how many days people can refund, like 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, things like that might have an effect on whether people buy or they don't buy. Another thing I don't have on here is like trial offers, like having a one-time fee or a monthly fee or a trial offer, things like that. That's really big that people test a lot to get people in the door for like either a free trial or $1 trial you can do. Of course, you can always test the price, but testing the price is a little bit risky in case you send traffic to you're sending traffic to different prices, and then one person sees a price and they've already paid a higher price. So you always kind of run the risk of other people seeing what you're doing, but it's not going to happen in abundance. And if it does happen, then there's always a way to make a customer happy. If they end up, paying a higher price, you can always either give them something for free or just work out something with them. It probably won't be a problem as long as you handle it correctly. So, but nonetheless, these are all things that you can test to see which ones work better than others. Okay. Cool. All right, so let's talk about how to split test. And we are so lucky that we live in a time where it's just getting easier and easier and easier to split test your offers. And there are tools which people have mentioned already, like Lead Pages, and I use InstaBuilder 2.0. There are many others that allow you to basically pretty much automate this process. So you're not really having to do too many things manually, and you can easily test. Like one thing that I always do is I'll put together one page, and then when that page is fully complete, I will use the tools that we have here and I will duplicate that page. And then all you need to do is you have like a selection of how you want to allocate that traffic. Do you want to allocate 50% here, 50% there? Do you want to do 80-20, whatever you want to do? And it will automatically break out those pages. And it will also not show people the other page. So they'll already be cookied for the one that they saw. So you won't run into that problem that we talked about before too much about people seeing your other offers, unless they really like clear their cookies and then they look at your offer again, which is a very low chance. I mean, it is a chance, but a low one. So Tools like this really take all the excuses out, because it used to be a lot more work than what we have today that literally lets us, have a few clicks and change one thing, and now we're able to split test and see, what's working better and what's not. You can, of course, also do it the manual way, where you simply just have to duplicate the page that you want, and then you have to manually send, your traffic to these different areas. To something that is cool to do too, if you don't have any of these cool tools. But I would highly recommend just, these tools are not that expensive at all, and they have so many great features that this is just one of them that is tremendous for us marketers. Now, this is the thing that I wanted to bring up before, but I'm glad I held off because I forgot I had this in the slide. And this used to be something that I used all the time, and it's called TestClaw. And it's something that, if you're lucky, you could still find it on the Warrior Forum. It's a great little tool. And basically, it's an image split tester. So what I used to do is, before lead pages and InstaBuilder, before we had all these cool things, I used to do all like my headlines in images, and then I would put the images on TestClaw. TestClaw is like a site, you upload your images and they host your images. So let's say you have like 4 headlines, you would put all those into JPEGs and use one link to get that image onto your sales letter, and then it would just rotate it, and it would give you percentages on which ones work the best. So, but it only worked with images, no text. So that's why it was kind of like, annoying, because you had to kind of, make your headline, and then you had to make images out of all your headlines. But it was a neat little tool, and I don't really find the use for it today, just because of the fact that I think it's just easier to use like InstaBuilder and, split test a page, whether it's a headline or a button, whatever. But it's a cool little tool for people who still like to use images. Another great way to use that tool to this day is to, like, let's say you have some kind of banner ad, like on maybe like the sidebar of your blog. You can test different offers, because you can just have a banner that says one offer, promoting one offer, and then another banner promoting another offer, and then you can see which one does better. So that's one way that you can actually use TestClaw and not have to like have multiple pages to do tests. So that's why I like that tool, but I don't really use it much anymore. So there are a couple of split testing rules, and I put rules in quotes because they're just like my rules, my dumb rules that I come up with, right? And number 1 is don't go crazy. Don't go crazy split testing everything. Like, there is a point that you can just like stop and be like, okay, this is cool. I'm happy with my, 30% conversion on my squeeze page, right? And let me go on to the next project already. So don't go too crazy. I would say just to do it a couple of times for maximum results and then move on. The second thing is don't test too many things at once. This is so important. Like, think of like as a squeeze page, right? You make one squeeze page and then you make another squeeze page, and you change your headline, and you change your offer, and you change your button color and you change too many things. Now you're not comparing apples to apples. Now you're comparing like apples to bananas. You're not comparing the same thing. So there's a whole thing. It's called like a control, and you have to go back to like 8th grade science to really understand it. But basically what you want to do is really just change one thing against another. So test one headline against another, test one button color against another. So you're only changing one thing, and the results that you're getting are based on that one change that you make. Okay. And then I have my little acronym here, which I was going to put Kayla on the spot to guess because I thought it would be fun, but can you guess what that means? I doubt it.
That's not fun. That's not cool.
Yeah, it was my own dumb game in my head that I just wanted.
I believe we called this the nerd hour when we first started, so I feel like it kind of all comes full circle, right? So
Exactly. Well, it stands for always be testing. ABT, always be testing. Okay, so if you're not testing one thing, test something else. Just always do it because you're always going to wind up on top. All right, guys. Well, we only have one more slide to cover, and then we're going to be coming to a conclusion for today's office hours. And as always, you can type in your questions in the questions box while you have us here. Start thinking of your questions because we're almost done. And I'm just going to take one sip of water before I talk about the scary conversion pixels. The only reason why I call this scary conversion pixels is because every time I hear marketers explain it, it's like they're trying to, I don't know, explain like Einstein's formula. I don't even know. Like it's something that they're like, it's so difficult, but it's really not. It's really easy. And convergent pixels really shouldn't scare you. And where you mostly get conversion pixels is, I'm sure you guys have done it or seen it in or heard the terminology about Facebook advertising and other kind of tracking programs. So basically, what a conversion pixel is going to do, it's going to tell you like an outcome, right? So let's say you are testing 2 different squeeze pages. Well, in order to know which one performs better, you're going to need to know how many people, you can always just look at the opt-in, but you can always, let me backtrack here. What you're usually testing are opt-ins and sales conversions, right? So what you want to do with this conversion pixel is ultimately you want to put this on a page that the person lands on after they take an action or a desired action. So if it's a squeeze page, your conversion pixel would go on your thank you page. If it's a sales that you want people to make, your conversion pixel would go either on the thank you page or the very next page that you're sending a person to. So if you're sending a person to an upsell, then you're going to want to put your conversion pixel on that. So it just tells a system like Facebook, oh, that person came from this page and landed on that page, and that means that they're a conversion. Okay? And this is very important to put into place into your business to not only track, but also to do things like retarget, right? So if you're retargeting people who have landed on your sales page, you probably don't want to retarget to the people who already bought, right? So basically, the conversion pixel is going to tell you people who have bought your product, and you can always exclude those people from your ads. And it's not very hard to do, but just know that the conversion pixels are usually placed on like a thank you page or the very next page, like an upsell page if you're selling someone something. And that gets put into like a head tag, the head tag. And usually on these sites like Lead Pages and Optimize Press and InstaBuilder, things like that, they're going to give you a beautiful little section. They usually call it like a script code or something like that. and it's going to, when you open it up, it says head tag, insert your head tag, and all you need to do is paste it in there. And as long as you're pasting it on your conversion page, you should be good to go. Okay, so this tells whatever system you're looking to track conversions and things like that. Like, let's say you're tracking your different link offers. That's what you're going to want to do to see not only the links that you're tracking, but which links are converting into sales. So you want to always be testing both of those things, okay? So the conversion pixel is usually how it just tells the whatever you're tracking, it's telling them what your desired action is and if that action has been fulfilled. So obviously we can spend, I knew that this slide was going to be a mouthful, and I was debating whether or not to hit on it, but I wanted to hit on it a little bit because it's under the umbrella of tracking, but maybe it's something that we have to do on another day when we have a little bit more time to spend on it. But I just wanted to kind of cover it a little bit, just to kind of get it in there because it is on topic. All right. So that is basically the end of our presentation today. And we're just under an hour here. We usually hang out a little bit and answer some questions. So hopefully you guys have some for us. Thank you, Rob. Very nice of you to say. Yes, Sonia, we definitely can do a topic, a special on that topic. Like I said, I knew it was going to be, there was going to be like 5 minutes left to cover that, but I just wanted to do it. Okay, do you have to put it on each upsell and downsell? No, I mean, basically, Claude, you're putting it on. So basically you're tracking your your traffic, and you want to track your initial offer, right? Whether it's a free offer or a paid offer. So that's what you're initially testing, and you don't have to put it on the downsell because you can always pull that data from somewhere else, like your buyers list. But you're going to want to put it on the upsell page. Yep, Roger, for sure. We'll definitely get into that a little bit later. Cool. You guys seem to enjoyed this session. I was scared that I was going to bore you to tears because not everyone likes to talk about tracking and things like that, conversions. So hopefully it was entertaining enough. But this is like the people on this webinar, like I said in the beginning, it's great that you're here because you really need to hear this stuff, especially if you're not doing it, and it's a little bit of a nudge. Don't get overwhelmed. Don't think that you have to do everything here. If you just take one action step, that's further than a lot of people are doing. So yeah, so kudos to you guys.
Well, I think the other thing too is sorry, I think we're a little bit delayed, so it comes across like I'm talking over you. I was just wanted to add to what you're saying is we do get a lot of questions, and it is hard to answer them all because it is a lot of gray area, and a lot of copy depends on your market. So like Debbie said, even if you just implement a few of these strategies and get started with testing, it's going to help you get a really clear picture of what your audience is going to react to, and it's going to have a huge impact on your sales as a result. So, and it's going to familiarize yourself with your audience, which is going to help you write better copy at the end of the day. So yeah, like Debbie said, just putting in a few little things here and there is definitely going to have a huge overall difference.
Absolutely. Well said. Thank you. All right, guys. Well, we're going to be wrapping up here. And as always, the office hours are sponsored by ScriptDoll. and just making your copy as easy as possible. Taking out a lot of the grunt work is what we do for you, and allowing you to focus more on selling and focus more on your product and your creations and things like that, as opposed to the nitty-gritty aspects of copywriting, which could be daunting at times. So I believe Kayla has the link to our ScriptDoll program, which we're going to just throw in the chat for you all. And if you don't already have it, and you can take a look at that. As always, the office hour replay will be posted on the ScriptDoll blog, which is scriptdoll.net. And if you go and look at the right-hand screen, side of your screen, it says office hours, and that's where this will be posted, as well as the past episodes that we have done for you already. So as always, we appreciate your attendance here. We appreciate you hanging out with us, interacting with us, and making our job really, really fun. All right, cool. Well, if no one has any other questions, I'm seeing a lot of greats and thanks. Thank you so much. Awesome. And it's been really fun, and hope you got a lot out of this, and go ahead and take action. We'll see you on the next office hours.
Cool. Thank you guys. Great job, Debbie, today. You definitely provided everybody with some great info, so awesome.
Awesome. All right. Thanks, guys.
Bye, guys. We'll see you guys at the next office hours.
Bye.